There are many other examples of controversies related to the arts in terms of the attitudes of the public. For decades now, rap musicians have been accused of promoting lyrics that express hatred or dislike of women or girls. And controversial musicians have often been associated with violent lyrics. Yet many of them have had highly successful careers, such as Dr. Dre, a producer who has made millions from headphones and was a senior advisor to Apple Music. One of the questions that a number of people have investigated is, what does the efforts of publics to censor artwork have to do with access to artwork and with the democratization of access to the arts? And this is becoming extremely important now that we're sharing so much via the internet. So there have been many debates about the rights and responsibilities of artists, but also of publics, of governments, and of public institutions. A lot of the factors have to do with changing access to culture, because for many, many centuries, access to certain forms of culture was quite controlled. And there's been some interesting work done on those kinds of controls and what they had to do with the circulation of materials that would be seen as obscene in many other milieux. Public funding for the arts and who controls public funds has also become a big issue, especially in North America since about the 1930s. A little bit earlier, perhaps, in Mexico, but in North America, there were vast programs to support different art forms, theater, music, and of course, the visual arts. There are also a lot of debates about art markets, and this is changing a great deal now that we have new technologies that allow us to share certain forms of art much more freely. So some of the debates have to do with whether elite or learned authorities or learned publics should have more say than uninformed observers, and debates about the levels of knowledge and how that influences ways of interpreting the meaning of images or sounds for different participants, knowledgeable art world insiders versus general publics, and so on. And one of the questions then becomes, does democratization of access to the arts cause censorship? And controversies often contrast different people's rights, artists' rights to self-expression, and what in the US is known as the First Amendment or freedom of speech, to the public's rights and government's duties in terms of enforcing standards. So what standards and values should art be support and be supported? And when there are conflicting values, whose standards should prevail? So when we're looking at controversies related to the arts and trying to find ideas for developing a short discussion of a controversy, you can look to various case studies that include academic research of the type that's available in online sites. But you could also look at debates in media coverage, debates on online networks, and so on. And when you start researching a controversy, try to find a conflict or an example of a dispute that is either related to the way people in art worlds have embraced and become active in a public controversy. This could include something like the Me Too movement, or it could include Black Lives Matters issues, or it could involve disputes within specific art worlds, perhaps about the style or status of work or the artist. So this will be an opportunity to have a little fun and explore some things that might be of interest to you. If you're more interested in economy and political economy and communicating about that, you can look at some debates about the way in which people make money from the arts. So I'm hoping you'll have fun with this, and we can discuss it more in our weekly class.